Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Bill and Ben is over there, and you can't see either one of us because we are doing a live stream of Good Dog, Bad Zombie from Make Big Things. This is designed by Brian Van Slyke and Evan Rowland. They sent me a preview copy of this, so this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to play the game and what the game is about and what you're getting in the box. So without further ado, Ben, first off, thanks for joining me. Hello. Ben is off to, it's Ben over there, and this is Bill over here. And I know where faces are not on. This is still also kind of we're sort of test driving the setup for how we're going to do these live streams. So this is not going to be perfect, but every day is a step forward. So hang in there, bear with us, and we will make this more awesome every time we do it. So here we go. The basic idea behind Good Dog, Bad Zombie is that this is a cooperative game. The idea is that we are dogs who are attempting to rescue the extremely stupid humans from a zombie apocalypse. There's nothing. No, I'm looking for the other character cards. Are they over here?
Yeah.
Maybe they're over there. There we go. All right. So you are playing one of 4 characters. We have this game set up for a 2-player game on normal difficulty. So you can either be Lupin, who Ben is playing. There you go. Ms. Fuzzy Ears, who I am playing. And I'm going to zoom in on Ms. Fuzzy Ears here. All right. And God, I'm terrible at this. I promise.
Focusing?
No, I'm just bad at aiming stuff because I'm trying to do it backwards. All right. So this is your sort of character sheet that you start the game with. Okay. And what you get on here is you get a little bio to your left. You get an ability. We'll come back to that in a minute. And then this is basically your player reference cards. So this gives you an idea on what exactly goes on any given turn. So the basic flow of play is actually pretty simple. But first, before we get to that, we will talk about how the game works. So the basic idea is that we are in a city. The city is made up of these 27 spaces that you see on this 3x9 grid in front of you. There are the cliffs on the far left. There's the river on the far right. There is Central Bark in the middle. And then there are 18 spaces, I guess, spawn points, other city spaces. Those are the places where humans can be found and zombies will appear. And when the game starts, there are 3 zombies that start in prescribed places based on the player count. So for instance, we have this set up for a 2-player game. So it specifically says place a zombie in space 5, space 14, and space 18. And you'll notice, and I'm going to clear this up and I'll hold this up so that you can see it. The spaces are all the names of places as dogs would think of them. So for instance, the downtown area with all the skyscrapers is called Tall Things. The park is the backyard. Cage Friends is the zoo. Food Street is where all the restaurants are, etc. So everything is very dog-centric. This is all the way that dogs would think of them, okay? So you have these 3 boards, and they line up just like this. And again, it bears mentioning this is a preview prototype copy, so of course, you know, what this actually ends up looking like when it is in production will probably be somewhat similar. I know for a fact that they told me that this was not final art. So I'm sure that that's, you know, part of it is going to be the art will change a little bit and whatever. But the art is adorable right now. Personally, I think they should just roll with what they got. I really like it.
This part of it I think is definitely...
Yeah, the presentation is really good. All right, so you have the board. You've got zombies, which are currently standees. And I don't know, again, in the final version, whether those will be miniatures or whatever. You have humans, which are right down here. These are who you're trying to rescue. And, of course, bunches more zombies over there. You have a feral track. So this is your loss condition. When you play, you start with a feral rating of something based on your player count. So in a 2-player game, you start with a feral rating of 1. Right? And anytime something bad happens, which is either a human gets killed or a zombie gets into Central Bark, whenever one of those 2 things happens, your feral track will tick up by 1. And if it ever gets to 10, then the rule book says you have forgotten what the love of humans feels like, and you immediately lose the game. So that's your loss condition, is zombies getting into Central Bark or humans dying. You also have scent cards, and you have 3 stacks of them up here. And these scent cards are square cards that are exactly like these spaces on the board, all right? And you make 3 approximately equal stacks, and each of those stacks, whatever card is on top of it, will be one, obviously corresponds to the 18 locations. You will put a scent token. So you'll notice that over here, I showed you number 10. So there's the number 10 space, and it has a scent token on it. The other 2 stacks, I know the camera angle is not awesome, and we're going to figure that out in the future, are number 13 and number 5. And those, of course, those corresponding spaces have scent tokens, okay? So I've explained how to lose. I have not explained how to win. The way that you win the game is by sniffing where a scent token is, and hopefully finding a human, okay? And when you find a human, the scent token will be replaced by a human figure, as an example. And then you have to get that human to Central Bark, where the rest of your pack is, and they can protect the human, is the idea, all right? Now, how this works is that every scent card has a different result on the back of it. And some of them will have a human, some of them will not. Some of them will have sort of random events that can happen that can change how the game plays. Some good, bad things. It depends on, usually it's a die roll. Okay. And as soon as you flip a card, it's going to reveal another card beneath it, which will then move a scent token to another place. So there will always be 3 scent tokens in play at any given moment, is the general idea. Okay. As you rescue a human and get them back to Central Bark, you'll draw one of these human cards, and it has a name, what the person is, and then some sort of a special ability that you'll get. Usually kill a zombie or draw a free card or something like that. Something kind of minor. All right. The last thing the game has is a 20-sided die that it comes with. And this game follows, Ben, you haven't played, we talked about this. I compare this game very much to Pandemic in that it has a very similar, you have action points that you're going to spend to do things, and then the game will hit you back. This is, you said you have not played base Pandemic, but you've played Pandemic the Cure, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that has something sort of similar-ish, right? Whereas that you do your stuff, and then the game does something. And then the world
reacts, yes.
Yep. And that's the same flow of play here. In Good Dog, Bad Zombie, the flow of play is very simple. You're going to get 2 actions, and each of those actions can be one of 4 different things. You can either run, which is move 1 space. You can lick, which is lick any dog in your space. Yes, you can lick yourself. That is in the rule book. I did not make that up. And that allows you to draw 2 energy cards, which are right here. You can play an energy card as one of your actions, and those energy cards will have different effects on them, including moving more and some other very important effects, which are basically the only way to win the game. And then you can sniff. And sniff is what I was talking about before, where you investigate a scent token and then turn it and flip the card and see what happens. Okay, so sniff is an action you can only take where there is a scent token. The action or the energy cards, and I'll show you a few of them out of here, have different commands on them. So there are 5 main commands, I think. First off, there is run, okay? And a run card basically just lets you move a little bit more. So there's a run 3, okay? There is bark. Bark says take any other piece that is in your space and move it that many spaces. That's move somebody else. That can be a zombie or another dog or a human. You can herd, which is move yourself and a piece in your space, that many spaces. You can chew. Chew is kill a zombie in your space, just straight up kill it. Or you can play a good doggo card. And the good doggo card is how you activate the special ability that your particular dog has. So, for instance, in the case of Ms. Fuzzy Ears here, I'll just show you on mine. If you look down in that lower left-hand corner down there, my ability is protect. So I can herd 2, then run 2, then herd 2 again. So with that one card, I can do all 3 of those actions. So I can herd 2, which means move myself and a piece in my space up to 2 spaces. Then run 2, which is move myself 2 more spaces. And then herd 2 again, so move myself and any one piece in my space 2 more yet. So those good doggo cards are arguably, I would say, the most powerful cards in the game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But they are very specific. Like, they do a very specific thing. So, for instance, Lupin's special ability allows him to go to a space. He gets to snuggle with another dog. So he goes to a space where another doggo is, and then they lick each other. Mm-hmm. which sounds way creepier than it actually is. But
and as a result, both people get to draw 2 cards.
2 cards each, right? So it lets him and another player draw a couple cards. So that's the basics. And every dog is different. So, for instance, Wayne's ability is run 4, then bark 2. So he can run. He can travel. Run 4 is pretty huge in this game. Mm-hmm. And then bark 2, chase something 2 spaces away, which is nice. And then Captain Whoopster can hunt, which is removing a zombie from an adjacent space, and then howl. So one of the things that you might have noticed in those cards is some of those cards will have paw prints on them. Whenever you play a card with a paw print, you get an extra action point that turn. So it's sort of like a free action. The way to think of it is paw print cards don't count against your 2 actions for the turn. I think that's an easier way to think of it, is any card with a paw print on it is a free action. And then howl cards that have that howl icon on them, allow you to allow any other dog to draw 1 card. So now you're allowing other players to draw. So when you howl, other people will benefit. You're sort of rooting each other on. Okay? So you take your 2 actions, and you can take any 2 actions you want in any combination, in any order. You can take the same action twice. There's no reason not to in some cases. The only exceptions are you have a hand limit of 5. So if you ever have 5 cards in your hand, you may not draw more. So you can't perform a lick action as an example to draw past 5 or whatever. And once you have taken your 2 actions, you roll the 20-sided die and you place a zombie on whatever space corresponds to it. Now, there are spaces numbered 1 through 18 on the board. There are no 19 and 20. So 10% of the time when you roll the die, you won't get a zombie. Yay! The other 90%, of course, you'll place a zombie. The trick is there can only ever be 1 zombie in any given space. So if a space already has a zombie and you roll that same space, so for instance, if I rolled a 14 right now, we can't place a zombie there, so we would be placed in the next space closest to Central Bark. And if that happened again, then the zombie would appear in Central Bark, and we would immediately move our feral marker 1 space down closer to loss, and then the zombie comes straight off. Basically, zombies never actually sit in Central Bark. They just, whenever a zombie would be placed in Central Bark, you instead grow 1 space more feral. Okay? So that's the basic flow of play. You're going to take 2 actions, potentially more if you play paw print cards. Then you roll the die, and you're going to add a zombie to the board 90% of the time. By the way, the cliffs and the river spaces over there, only dogs can go into those spaces. So if anything ever happens that causes a human or a zombie to go to those spaces, i.e. you herd or bark them into those spaces, basically is how that ends up going. Then they die. And if it's a human, you get a little bit more feral. If it's a zombie, everybody rejoices. That's one of the main ways you're going to get rid of zombies, I would argue, in the game, is by chasing them off the edges of the board so that way they die before they mess with you. That and the chew cards.
Right. But I think those are few and far between.
Yeah, there certainly weren't as many of those chew cards as one would have liked. So, all right. So now we're just going to go ahead and start playing. And we are playing on the normal difficulty level. The rule book, and of course, again, everything is prototype here. But the rule book gives you a full setup chart with how many players and what difficulty you want, how many spaces start off with zombies on them, which I think is pretty rad. So I like that they made this game very, very customizable based on player count and how tough you want the game to be. So if you're playing this with kids, as an example, you can definitely make the game a lot easier. If you're playing it, if you really dig the game and you want to see how good you are at it, you can dial it up to 1,000,000. Personally, we just completed a game on normal, and it felt slightly, I don't know. I hate to, right before we're about to play, I hate to say that a game is easy, right? Because you know how that works. You put the whammy on yourself, and then suddenly you're screwed. But it felt a little bit like their normal was very beatable. And I know when you play co-op games, Ben, just before we get started, when you play a game, do you tend to like your co-ops tough or easy? Like, do you tend to want to win regularly, or do you like getting beat up a little bit? This is just a personal preference thing. There's no right answer here.
Honestly, with me, I feel that there needs to be some challenge. Like, for example, any of the Arkham games, Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, Elder Sign, those, they do make things, difficult for the players to win. So
careful on the table.
Sorry.
That's right. The camera is on the table, so sorry.
So sorry. Yeah. But no, I mean, some of those games can get a little too punishing, but at the same time, too, there needs to be some.
There has to be some challenge, or else there's no point.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I like co-op games that feel like that the odds are. I like my co-op games like I like my action movies. That's a great way to say it. I want the good guys to win at the end, but I want it to be a struggle, and I want to feel like I earned it. And occasionally, it's okay when the bad guys win. So, hi, Netters. How's it going? Yes, I have the chat open, actually. I'm excited. This is Good Dog, Bad Zombie, which is currently on Kickstarter right now from Make Big Things, designed by Brian Van Slyke and Evan Rowland. This is on Kickstarter for the next 4 days. There's a link in the description on YouTube where you can check out the Kickstarter, or you can just Google for it, or whatever floats your boat. And we are just going to do a quick live stream and show you sort of how the game works. So we kind of walked through all the rules already, but as we go, I think you'll pick up pretty much how it works. So the rule book specifically says, by the way, each player starts with 2 energy cards. So Ben and I have both been dealt 2 each. And I'm going to move the rule book now.
Okay.
And the rule book specifically says that the start player is the person who most recently pet a doggo. And yes, the bar that I happen to work at on Saturday nights has a pet chihuahua that hangs out. So there you go. By the way, Netters, can you hear me okay? I'm assuming that everybody can hear. So if you can't, if you're not, I mean, I know I can hear things a little bit. I just want to make sure that it's loud enough. If it is not loud enough, please let me know. And I will do what I can to make things a little bit louder. It feels like maybe it's a touch quiet, but I also don't want to feed back. So again, Netters, if you could quickly help me out before you bail. Can you hear everything okay? It sound all right to you? Okay, good. Perfect.
Okay, she's good. Okay,
Thank you, Netters. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Like I said, we're still test driving how we're going to set all this nonsense up. So, all right, so I'm going to start the first turn of the game. And like I said, I have 2 actions, so I'm going to look at my 2 cards here, and they are terrible. So that's not a good sign. Well, actually, they're not that bad. I just don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them. All right, so my first action that I'm going to take is I'm going to play a run 4. All right, so I'll show you that. That means that I get to move up to 4 spaces, and see how there's a howl icon up in the corner there? That means that one other player at the table is going to get to draw an energy card. Since we're playing a 2-player game, that will be Ben. And that lets me move up to 4 spaces. Remember, I am Ms. Fuzzy Ears. So this is me. Oh. All right. So I'm going to move 1, 2, and I'm going to go to this space. All right. And then...
also, in case we didn't cover it, movement for us can either be in straight lines or diagonally. Humans and zombies, however, must move...
Well, no.
Or actually... Correct me on that, Bill.
Right. Humans, basically, the only way humans move is if a doggo takes them someplace so they can follow the doggo. Zombies never really move at all.
That's true.
They sort of spread.
They just spawn via the roll of the D20.
Yep. And they always spawn in a row heading towards the center. So they effectively only move horizontally, but they're not really moving. You'll see how that works in a hot second. So anyway, so I moved myself to here, and then I am going to lick myself because, of course, I am. So, and by the way, you'll see that we have some black drawn on the bottom of the dog bases. That is specifically because it's hard when we're playing at this weird angle to tell what's a dog and what's not. So, kind of bear with us on that. We made some modifications here. So anyway, I took 2 actions. I licked myself, which is the draw 2 cards action. Okay. After that, now I'm going to roll the die. And I rolled a 19, which is good luck. There is no 19 space on the board, so no zombie got generated. So now it's Ben's turn. And don't forget, Ben, that we're going to talk out loud and say all the things that we do because this camera angle is not amazing.
Okay, gotcha. And since this is a live stream, like, obviously PG-13...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
So don't pull...
No, because we want them to be able to link to this video. So be a good boy.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. So for my first action, I will run for 1. That's the default.
Yep, you can do that for free.
And then the second action I will take is sniff. So you guys can see how sniff works.
So he's on space 10, so he's going to take the card that corresponds to that space.
There's a little narrative on it.
Right, and then you read whatever the narrative is. So,
a spiny flying car crashes into the ground. Roll the die. I rolled a 17. It's too late. Discard 1 energy. Sad times.
Okay, so there you go. So he has to discard a card.
Sad.
And now that pile no longer has a number 10. Now it has a number 6 card at the top of the stack. Right there. Okay. So we will take the scent marker that was on number 10 and we'll move it to number 6 instead. So there are always, whatever is on the top of these 3 stacks is always the spaces that are going to have those scent tokens. Okay. So that was his 2 actions. Now he rolls the die.
17.
17. So space 17 gets a zombie. And now it's my turn. So I'm going to play Herd 2 card. All right. Which means that I and 1 unit where I am can go up to 2 spaces. So I and this zombie are going to go 1, 2 and go to the cliffs. Now, zombies can't live on the cliffs. Only dogs can safely move here. So because I moved a zombie to the cliffs, it dies. All right. So again, that's one of the primary ways that you're going to get rid of bad guys in the game is by leading them to their doom, which I think is kind of fun, actually. You get the zombies to chase you around. That's pretty cool. And then I am going to play Run 4, which has a howl icon on it. So Ben will get to draw a card, and I get to move up to 4 spaces. So I'm going to move to the boneyard. Okay. Then I roll the die, and a number 8 is rolled. So we put a zombie on space 8. And it's Ben's turn. And we're just going to go back and forth like this now, okay, until we have either rescued 6 humans or had 9 bad things happen to us. It's 9 because you start on 1, and if it gets to 10, you lose. So it's just rinse and repeat like this until either the doggos rescue 6 humans or lots of terrible things happen. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So moving from space 10 to 13, big wheel for 1. And then second action.
Sniff again.
Sniff again. All right. I find so much cotton candy to eat. Roll the die. Oh, fun.
Easy on the table.
Sorry.
3.
3. That means now I can chase zombies forever and never sleep. Draw 2 energy.
Nice. I'll go to the discard pile. So unfortunately, we're not finding humans, but he's getting fun little abilities. And that revealed scent number 5, 6, and 15. So 15 gets the next one. And that's the neat thing. Even if you forget a step anywhere in here, because all you have to do is check the board state and you're all set, right? You just look, what are the top 3 cards? Okay, you're golden. So now Ben's going to roll the die. He rolls a 5. And so the space I literally just cleared off gets another zombie.
Wow.
That's fine. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do for my turn is I'm going to sniff in the boneyard. So I flip number 6. And it says, I find a sad human crying by a grave. Place a human token here. So now this gets replaced by that. And this revealed space number 14. So put that right there. All right. And now for my second action, I'm going to herd 1. Excellent. So this is me in 1 token where I am, 1 space. So I will take them into Central Park. Yay! This is our victory condition. So the human comes off the map. We draw a human card from this tiny little deck here,
which also has a little descriptor on it.
Yep, and they all have a name of whoever it is. So in this case,
Antoine, mechanic with a good singing voice.
Okay.
When rescued, throw balls. You may move anywhere.
Okay, so I get a free movement to any space on the board as my reward for rescuing this human. And we are 1/6 of the way done with winning the game. So I am going to go... I don't know.
Maybe clear one of the zombies off of one of the sniff tokens?
Yeah, I'll go here.
Okay, because I can get to that one, yeah.
Yeah, what we've discovered from playing is that if both dogs, if too many people end up overloading one side of the board, bad things start to happen to the other. And of course, it's all dice too, right? So it depends on what you roll. But all right, and my die roll is a 12. So space number 12 over by Ben gets a zombie. And now it's Ben's turn.
Okay. All right. So taking the default action of run once to move one space here. And now I'm going to start taking herd action.
That's all right.
So herd one.
Okay.
Do note the paw print in the upper right again.
So it's a free action.
As Bill noted earlier. So.
Oh, that's right. I actually had a free action coming still, didn't I?
Oh, did you want to go back?
No, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, actually, I would have licked for 2 at the end of last turn. Sorry.
Okay.
That's all I would have done.
Okay. So anyways,
herd one.
So moving myself and the zombie 1.
Yep. Note that you can't herd a scent token. That is not it has to be one of the pawns. So it either has to be a human or a zombie in order to take a herd action.
Okay. And then I love that these are going to be able to stack. So I'm playing with the very same card, doing the very same action, and taking
the zombie off the edge of the world, which kills the zombie. And because these have paw prints, he can keep going. Both of those have been free actions so far.
Okay, but now, Bill, how many cards do you currently have?
I have 2. He's asking because you have hand limit of 5, right? So if he does a thing that would help me draw cards, you want to do it if I'm at 5 or I'm at 4 or 5 cards. So go ahead.
Okay, so last action for me, I'm going to be playing the Good Doggo card.
Right. Which lets him do his special ability, which is move to where any other dog is, and then they lick each other. So he comes to where I am over here, and then we both get to draw 2 cards. And again, those Good Doggo cards are kind of some of the most powerful cards, I would argue, in the game. I think they end up becoming a really big deal.
I concur with that.
So, all right.
Okay. That's my turn, so now roll the die. 3.
All right. All right, so for my first action, I'm going to play Bark 2. And a Bark 2 card lets me take any other piece in my space and move it up to 2 spaces. So I will take this zombie and go 1, 2 and chase it off the edge of the world. The first one. And then for the second action, I am going to sniff on space number 5.
Good idea.
So the tower starts shaking. There's an earthquake. I have to roll the die. 11. This is the scariest thing ever. Every dog has to discard an energy, so we each lose a card. Sorry, Ben.
Oh, boy. That's okay.
I'm going to throw that one, even though it's a free action, because I think I like the other stuff I have better. Then I have to roll the die for the end of the turn, and it's a 16. Uh-oh.
We've got...
So now we're starting to get a lot of zombies on that side. This is where things start to get a little bit scary. So it's Ben's turn.
Okay. Did the marker move, or did the marker move too, if you need to move?
Oh, yep. Thank you. 14, 15, and 17. So 14, 15, 17.
Oh, right in the middle of Zombieland. Okay.
Yep.
Lovely. You know, Bill, I was actually thinking about this. If this is a co-op, would you say that players are not allowed to discuss with each other what is in their hand?
Well, let's look at what the rules say, because I personally, in general, I'm pretty handy. I'm pretty friendly about that kind of stuff. So I don't really make a big deal out of it. I don't know that the rules specifically talk about whether you're allowed to talk. Yeah, the rule book that I have does not specifically say. In general, I would say it's a co-op game. It's already fairly difficult. I would just go ahead and talk about it. And then if you want your game to be tougher, then don't allow it. Mm-hmm. But for right now, for a learn game, we're talking about what we're doing anyway.
Right,
so.
Yeah. No. All right. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. All righty. Next, going to play a run 4, which will allow me to move.
And that's a free action.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
Sniff. So is it number 14?
Mm-hmm.
Zombie house. A human is out here waving a sign around. I think we have this one from the other game.
Yep.
There we go. And I have 1 action left. How convenient. Playing herd 2.
Herd 2, yep.
Yep.
And you and the human run right to Central Bark. The human comes off the board. Flip another human card.
Again, more lovely, yummy flavor text.
Yep.
Antonio, learning to overcome his demons. When rescued, dog person, you may draw 2 energy.
Nice. That makes up for losing some cards.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. And now he'll roll the die. 17. Okay, so now you get to see what happens. So space number 17 has a zombie in it.
So no.
So he tries to place to the next space closer and still no. So he ends up in Central Bark, which they never actually go to Central Bark. Instead, it moves the feral tracker up one. So we are one step closer to losing. But it is what it is. All right. So I do not have particularly awesome plays right here, but I'm going to start. My first play is going to be to go there, and then my second play is going to be to sniff at number 9.
Okay.
There are some wild smells coming from that dumpster. And by the way, all of these cards are sort of thematic. I don't know if you picked up on that. They're all sort of thematic for the place where you would draw the card. So like Smell Tower has a dumpster full of awesome smells. So roll the die, a 20, a car in the lot starts flashing and making stressful noise, and everybody has to discard an energy card.
Aww.
Darn it.
Dang it, that actually kind of screws me pretty good.
Sorry, buddy.
It's fine. I suppose I could get this back, hopefully. But...
All right. And then I roll a die to generate a zombie, number 15, which is right by you, Ben.
Okay.
So can we pause for a second? There's a couple things that I want to point out that I already really do and don't like about the game.
Okay.
For the most part, I really like most everything about this. I think that this is a really solid, lighter co-op game. This is not, brain surgery. This is not going to be something where you're going to really, it's not a super meaty game experience, but the flavor is really good. I do wish every event card that we have come up with has been roll the die, and on a 1 through 10, something good happens, and on an 11 through 20, something bad happens. Because this is a prototype and they're still working, tweaking things, I hope that they vary that up a little bit. So that way there may be like...
So like 1 through 5, 6 to 10, etc.
Yeah, even if it's only 3 things instead of 2. Like maybe a nothing happens on this die roll, or something good or something bad. Even if it's just that. Just a little bit extra, and to throw off the die rolling. So that way high isn't always bad and low isn't always good.
Right.
Or something to just mix it up and make certain events more or less likely. I think I would really like to see. That is, I think, my only critique of the game so far. It flows really well. So I like it other than that, and I love the theme. I just kind of hope that that's a thing that somebody thinks about at some point. But
okay, well, maybe...
it's definitely not a deal breaker. Gotcha. And they've already gotten over $100,000 on Kickstarter through this project. So this is already... That's a thing I should make sure to point out. This is a very successful Kickstarter already. They're doing great. They've only got a few days left to go, and I wanted to do this stream earlier, but life is what life is, and I haven't been able to do it yet. So anyway, once again, I want to point out that there are links in the description both for for this Kickstarter. So if you want to go check it out and think about backing it yourself. One of the neat things, by the way, that I didn't mention before is that some of the proceeds from this Kickstarter are going to a no-kill animal shelter in the area. So they're actually donating a bunch of the money from this project to help doggos out, which I think is pretty cool. So,
help out our furry friends.
Exactly. So, all right, Ben, go ahead and take your turn. Sorry to interrupt the gameplay there. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned the no-kill part of things too. So,
all right. All right, well, that losing cards thing hurt us a little bit, so again, going to play good doggo card to activate my special ability.
Move to where I am, and then we both draw 2 cards.
Yep.
Try not to lean on the table.
Sorry.
I know, it's a bad habit. Or it's a tough habit to break, I should say.
Let's see. Wow.
Yeah.
Things are kind of... All right. Actually, you know what? That's not so bad for me. Going to play a run 3 with a pawn.
Okay, so makes it a free action.
1, 2, 3.
There you go.
And then bark 2.
All right, and that takes anything in his space and moves it 2 spaces.
1,
in this case,
2.
2 out of the board. There you go. Perfect. Go ahead and roll your die. 3.
Right where?
Can't. And
oh,
that's right. And it can't be there, so it goes to Central Park, and we get a feral.
wow.
Sad panda. All right.
So even though this is only like what 1.5 games in, do you already have a rating for it on your scale?
On the Cubist scale, so
I know it's early.
It's a little early. I always hesitate to give ratings until I've had a chance to play things at least a few times. My knee jerk is that I think this is if you like lighter cooperative games, like if you have a family and you want a fun game that you can play with your entire family, I think that this is a buy it for sure. This is slightly lighter than the stuff I tend to gravitate towards. I tend to lean a little heavier on the scale, but I really like this, and I'm very glad that I'm getting a chance to do this for Make Big Things. So I would say that for the right crowd, it is definitely a buy game. It's well made. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's very easy to learn. There's definitely no like problem figuring out how the game works.
Yeah, the rules are very easy to grok.
Yep, for sure.
I'm probably right there with Bill between somewhere between a play it and a buy it.
Yep. I really like it. For me, it's not a game that would get played here very often. But I think if you have a family game or people that tend to like lighter, more streamlined games, I think would really dig this. So, all right, my turn. I don't have a particularly awesome turn, so I'm literally just going to move 2 spaces and roll the die, which is sad, but I don't really have much to do here. 18. Oh, no. Oh, okay. So now this is actually interesting. It tries to go to 18 and it can't, so it lands on 17. It can go there because there's no zombie, but there is a doggo there. And anytime a zombie appears where a doggo is, that doggo has to lose 2 energy cards from being terrified.
I only unfortunately have 1, and it was actually a pretty good one.
Yep. So unfortunately, my die rolling screwed Ben over yet again. But hey, that's how the zombie rots. I don't know. I got nothing. All right, Ben, go ahead.
Oh boy.
So once again, for anybody joining us a little bit late, this is Good Dog Bad Zombie from Make Big Things. It is currently on Kickstarter. There's a link in the bottom of the YouTube page. So go ahead and check that out. Click that link and go ahead and check them out on Kickstarter. It's already a successfully funded game with over $100,000 in backers. So this game and some of the proceeds from the game are going to a no-kill shelter. So helps out dogs.
All
Brian
right.
and Evan did a great job on this one. Go ahead.
First action. I guess I gotta lick myself. So not literally. This
Hi,
is
Paul. How's it going? Paul has just joined us. Paul, it's happy to see you here. I don't know if Netters is still in the chat or not, but I'm glad to see you, Paul. This is Good Dog Bad Zombie, which is currently on Kickstarter. This is a light co-op about zombies, the zombie apocalypse.
We haven't shown off Chew, I don't think. So how Chew cards work? This is one of the only attack card, if you will, for getting rid of a zombie. So there's a zombie in your space.
And because it has a howl icon on it, I get to draw a card, which is very exciting.
Okay, so those are my 2 actions. Now it's time to roll the die. 6.
All right. So I am going to play... I'm going to play my good doggo. So mine is herd 2, run 2, herd 2. So the herd 2 takes something in my space and move it with me 2 spaces. Then run 2, and then herd 2.
Nice.
Which takes the zombie out and moves the zombies away from Central Park was the general idea there. And then for my last move, I'm just going to move 1 space, which is very boring. 6. Oh, no! It would land there, but it tries to go in and can't, so we get another feral. So we are 3/9, a third of the way. There we go. That's what I meant to say. A third of the way to death. But that's all right.
But also a third of the way to winning. So
yes.
At this point, it's neck and neck.
It's neck and neck, for sure.
All right. Bill, once again, I'm going to ask you how many cards you currently have.
I'm sitting on 3.
Okay. I'm going to load you up to max, I think. Another good doggo card being played by me.
Move to where I am.
Right there.
And then we both draw 2.
Yep.
All right. Cards for days.
So now, as you heard Bill say, he was at 3. The ability I just gave him 2. So now he is a total of 5 cards in hand, which is the maximum you can have.
That's hand size. So I can't draw cards now until I place them.
Okay.
Paul, because you joined us a little late, real fast, the turn order, go ahead and keep taking your turn, Ben. Right. You can just go ahead and take your turn. I'll just talk over this one.
I'll just move.
Everybody plays a dog. You're trying to help humans survive the apocalypse. You have 2 action points. Basically, you can use them for movement or to play cards or to draw cards or to sniff. And sniffing is investigating these scent tokens, which are how you find humans who you hopefully bring back to Central Park with you in order to win the game.
My roll was a 10, right. So a zombie just appeared on space 10, the flats.
There you go, and you moved, huh?
Yep, and that is my turn.
All right, so
thinking I can get to that sniff marker. Hopefully there's a human there in space.
I was going to say, I'm going to go do that now. Actually,
okay, that's fine. No, that's fine.
So I'm going to run 3, move to where that is. That's a free action because it's got a paw print on it. So I get to take another action immediately, which in this case will be sniff. So I'm going to flip the number 3 card that's here. Worst place. I hear a scary sound from the evil back room. Roll the die. 5. I find a not scary human. Add a human token here. All right, good. And then I revealed a number 12. So we'll put out a new scent token on number 12 over there.
Okay. Throw. Nice.
And then I will herd. No, actually, I will bark 1. So bark 1 says take something in your space and move it 1 space. I will take the human and move it to Central Bark. And it has a howl token on it, Ben. So just so we don't forget, we're going to hand you that.
Thank you.
All right. And I rescued a human, so we get to draw the Steelio. And we found Scott, who never really got it together. I love the flavor text on these, by the way. When rescued, he throws the ball, and I can move anywhere I want. All right. Okay. So I tell you what, we need to start splitting up and conquering a little bit. So I think I'm going to go, based on the cards that I know I have, I'm going to go to here.
Okay.
Because I've got there's some options there for me. So, all right, and then I have to roll the die to generate a zombie. 16, which is, once again, gets us hurt.
Bop, bop.
We got to figure out a way to deal with that. But there we go. All right.
All right.
Once I can get the camera figured out, a better camera angle. I know this is a work in progress here, by the way. Once I get the camera angle figured out, I think this will work out pretty well, though. I think we've got a good...
Yeah, no, this is a good setup.
I just need to get a better angle for the camera, that's all.
Right. No, that's fine. Yeah. Okie dokie. So what do I want to do? I want to...
Oh, I wonder if I could have done that.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3...
Yeah. Next time. Learning process. I am not the world's... this is a new experience for me. This is a thing that we're going to try and branch out with on the Cubist and get a little
all
bit
right.
more. So go ahead.
I think what I'm going to do, first action, run 4 with a paw. So that's me right there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. That's a paw, so it's a free action.
Second action, going to sniff number 17, the salt
walk. So by the water.
Okay, there's a human rowing out to sea. Come back. Woof. Not even joking. It actually says that on the card.
Yeah, the flavor text is really good on this game.
Okay, and based on my roll of 5, the human rows back. Add a human token to the space.
And he revealed a number 6, so we put a snip token there.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So you still have 1 action left?
Yep.
Don't suppose you're sitting on a herd 2. That sure would be nice.
I thought, though, that humans could not be moved through spaces where zombies...
No, but you can move diagonally.
Right. That's right. Very important. Ironically, I'm the one who pointed it out.
Yeah.
We as dogs can move diagonally. So playing a herd 2. So we go like this. 1, 2.
There you go. Perfect.
Human made to Central Bark. So
we flip that. Yep.
Okay. We have Lydia getting over her fear of dogs.
Nice. Lydia. Whatever.
When rescued, dog person, you may draw 2 energy.
So she's getting over her fear of dogs, but she's a dog person.
Weird.
All right.
Okay, now we are 2/3 of the way winning. Awesome.
Yep.
Good stuff. And that is my turn.
And then you roll a die to see what you end up with. 10.
10.
Ah, we get hit again. So, and this is where things can start to go wrong. This is actually, this is one of the things that I think feels like pandemic. If the board starts to get too cluttered with stuff, you end up getting just sort of stuck, right? Like you can't really. So, all right. So for my first action, I'm going to bark 2, and I'm going to scare the zombie in my space out to the river.
Okay.
If you would be so kind, Ben.
Okay. Oh, this one? Okay.
Yep. Out to the river. And then I will spend a sniff action, and I will look at space number 15 and add a human. There's a human hiding in the wreckage. Yay! All right. And that revealed 5.
Yep.
And then I roll the die. 8, which is over here.
Okay. All righty.
All right. Ben's turn.
Let's see. All right. First, going to run for 1, so move there, and then the second action. Actually, Bill, how many cards do you have right now?
2.
2. Okay. All right. I'll give you 1 more. So I'm going to play a bark 1 with a howl action, a howl icon. So in order to move the zombie over there, and Bill will now get to draw a card.
There you go.
Okay. Die rolling time. 2.
All right. All right. I have a herd 2. So me and the human will move straight towards Central Bark.
Excellent.
And then I have a herd 1 with a paw print on it.
Nice.
So move in, which rescues the human. And we found Hero, who just wants to find his wife. I wonder who watched that show. Throw the ball, move anywhere is my action. So I can go anywhere I want, which is sad because of the card that I have, but whatever. And I guess I will just move to here. And since I have an action free, even though this seems a little pointless, I'm going to sniff on space 6.
No, I might find
because
a human.
If I find a human, maybe I can make Ben get it. So there we go. But instead, all the dirt in this place is full of bones. Roll a die. I rolled a 12. I spent all day chewing on bones, and I forgot about rescuing humans, and I have to discard an energy. So there we go. And now I roll to see if I generate a zombie. I rolled a 10, which does. We're rolling a lot of 10s.
Yep.
So it just moves up there.
All right.
All right, Ben.
Oh, and the marker moves.
Yep, the marker goes 2. Number 2 right here.
All right.
I tried, buddy.
No, that's fine. By the way, real quick, sadly, don't get the Hero reference.
Hero from the show Heroes.
Oh.
He was the fellow that ended up going back in time, or at least that's what I got it from. I don't know. It's been a long time since
I thought it was going to be like something like Walking Dead or something.
No.
Sorry, don't watch a lot of TV.
That's all right.
But anyways,
Heroes what hasn't been on TV for a long time, and it fizzled out pretty fast. So you're okay. Keep going.
All right. Moving over here for 1, and then gonna play another bark card with a howl. So scare away the zombie, and Bill gets to draw a card. Roll it. Hoping for 19 or 20. Ooh, 17.
Yeah, at least we didn't get screwed. All right, so I'm just gonna run 1 and then sniff. At 5. Again, trying to set Ben up for a play here is the whole idea. So, all right. Someone is up there cleaning the windows. Woof. I roll a die. 6. It's a human. They lowered their platform with ropes. There you go. So that one's gone 2, 9, and 12. So there's 9. So that was my 2 actions. I generate a zombie at 18 who marches straight into town because he can't. There you go. Uh-oh. All right, Ben.
Oh, boy.
Win the game for us, buddy. There's a human right here. You got a straight line. Go.
Yep. All right. Fortunately, the card...
Well, you could lick to draw cards.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to give us a better chance playing a good doggo card.
Okay, so
which activates my ability of Snuggle, which gives both me and Bill each 2 cards. So instead of just giving myself 2, I'm giving us a better shot with...
There you go.
Oh, but as luck would have it, that was a little unnecessary, but because I got a herd 2 card.
There you go, which takes him and the human into Central Bark.
Boop, boop.
And we win the game. Oh, and then we have to get to Central Park. Don't forget, we have to be in Central Park.
Oh, yeah, we skipped that.
We forgot that last game.
Did we not? Yeah.
All right, so we get our 6th to amend. Go ahead.
Yep. Who is...
Samantha
always finds the best in everyone. When rescued, you may draw 2 energy.
There you go.
Okay.
In the line.
There we go. There's
our 6th.
So that is actually... we are almost winning. Yep. So now draw my 2 cards. So now Bill just has to get back to Central Park.
We actually can't lose here at this point, but you'll see. Okay, go ahead and create a zombie.
Okay. 13.
Yep. And then for my 2 moves, I can go 1, 2.
Oh, yeah.
And just go in, and then we win. So there you go. That is how the game works. So now I'm going to stop presenting. And Ben, if you would be so kind.
Yes, Bill.
And hit the mute button. Touch the phone camera there. Hit the mute button.
Okay.
Touch the screen first, and then you'll see a camera up in the top corner.
Okay.
Or not the camera. I'm sorry, the microphone.
The microphone button. Okay.
See it there?
Yeah, at the bottom. Okay.
All right. Oh no, everything's terrible. One moment. So sorry. Hang on. No, that should be. I don't know why that's doing that. It's terrible. All right, there we go. All right, so now you're just talking to me again. There we go. It's easier to just get out of there. Sorry about the terrible feedback there for a minute, folks. Like I said, we're still kind of working out the kinks on how we're going to set up these live streams. But that right there was a full playthrough of Good Dog, Bad Zombie from Make Big Things, designed by Brian Van Slyke and Evan Rowland. Final thoughts on the game. And Ben, if you want to come around here, you can sit next to me here and we can chat and pull up a chair right here. By the way, this is Ben Dethloff. He is our top-level patron on PodPledge. Thank you, Ben, for all of your help with the
Hello, everyone.
With the Cubist. So, final thoughts. Good Dog, Bad Zombie is fun. It's doesn't take itself super seriously, which is good.
Right.
I think one of the things that co-op games tend to do, in my opinion, is they tend to be very serious and everything is life or death. Like we've seen a lot of those lately. We just played, like if you played Flatline, you know, or Pandemic, or you know, any of these games, they're all life and death. Oh my God, everything is going to go to hell.
Or as I mentioned before, the Arkham games by Fantasy Flight, those are very much, in addition to being, you know, all doomy and gloomy, they're also very punishing co-ops. So they're fun, but they tend to be very, very difficult to win. So, but something like this is a very refreshing change of pace, especially for me, because I would say I'm a pretty, I don't want to say this. I enjoy co-ops a lot. But I think one of the things that maybe sometimes drives me away from them is the difficulty factor. And that can sometimes drive people away because it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it just feels like everybody's in like one big station wagon driving into a brick wall over and over and over again because, you know, the game is just too doggone hard. So
yeah, there definitely is something to be said for a game that hits that sweet spot of being tough enough that there is a challenge, but not so challenging that you feel like you're just getting punched, right? And in games that are very, very challenging are fine sometimes, especially if the game isn't particularly long. Like I don't mind playing a game where you get smacked in 12 minutes, right? Like if you're playing like a 15-minute game and it goes terribly awry, it's not bad. When you're playing a 3-hour game and you just have to sit there and continue suffering, that's when it can get. By the way, Paul is saying hello to you.
Oh, hello. Sorry, Paul, I didn't see it.
He's not used to.
It's actually the first time I've ever been on camera. Usually I'm only like in like the chat room, and Bill will occasionally give me a shout out when he's doing the Monday night shows. But
anyway, my point is that the game is like, I think that this one, and I showed this earlier, but I'll show you again. Yeah, this game actually I think does pretty okay with alpha player problems, Paul, because We actually talked about this earlier in the stream. Ben asked how much information you can share. The rule book, the proto rule book that I have, doesn't specifically state whether you're allowed to talk about your cards with the other players or not. In general, we played pretty friendly, and we don't have we were just like sure, but we also didn't feel like we didn't discuss many things at all. Like we just didn't choose to.
Maybe is it just intuitive? Do you think it's like, okay, I see that, like when you were trying to clear a path for me in the last moments of the game or whatever.
Well, I think here's what I think it is, and Paul, you can tell me if I'm wrong. I'd actually be really interested to hear your viewpoint on this. I think that the harder the game is, the more tempting it can be for somebody to alpha, because they feel like they are the only person that has spotted the solution. And I don't think that's always the case, but I think that can be one of the trigger points that can cause alpha players in games. And I don't think that this game is that hard. I don't think this has that particular issue, because I don't think that you don't feel it that strongly here. I also don't think, honestly, that I think that Ben and I have been playing games together for quite some time. And I think we have a pretty good rhythm where neither one of us tends to alpha a whole lot in any co-op games anyway. That's just sort of a thing that we just don't do.
Yeah, neither one of us was the alpha dog. Again, dog-based game.
I was literally playing Ms. Fuzzy Ears, so I'm like, the odds of me being the alpha are 0. Anyway, my point is, that definitely can be an issue. I would say that all you have to do to fix that here is to say you can't talk about your cards. As soon as you say you're not allowed to talk about your energy cards, except for hand size.
I mean, unless there's another revision of the rules where that's put in. Just make it a house ruling, like, okay, whether you do or don't want to talk about cards or whatever. I mean, I personally think it's a little detrimental to do that, but again, to curve Paul's potential issue with an alpha player, because that honestly what turned me away. Give you a little quick 2-minute story here. I was once at a convention that Bill and I go to together called the Gaming Hoopla. It's going to be in the last weekend, I believe, of this month, April, down in Mundelein, Illinois. Anyways, the Hoopla we were at a couple years ago, I had signed up for a game called Arkham Horror, which is another co-op game by Fantasy Flight, and but somebody definitely assumed the role of an alpha player and was trying to direct everybody what to do. And eventually I got so sick of it, it was just like, okay, this is bogus. I'm just going to be, and I actually ended up, what was the sad part, and this ties in a little bit to what Bill was saying earlier, if you're just going to have, either a game or some alpha player be, be that way, just, get up and walk. And sadly, that's what I elected to do in that game. And then I was left out for, I think we were about half an hour in, and the event had been sectioned off for like a 2 or 3 hour block. And so that was like 2.5 hours or whatever. I had to just, walk around the convention and, kind of kibitz a little bit, or I think I maybe got some food or something, which I mean is fine for me. But I definitely see Paul's point where, if you have somebody, and I also hate co-op because, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there might be some co-ops where the game specifically instructs you to. So there are games. We talked about This War of Mine from Ares Games. I talked about it on the show a couple of months ago. That's a co-op that has a leader. So at every point in time, someone is holding the book, and whoever that person is making all of the decisions. And other people are allowed to talk, but at the end of the day, it is that person's decision. Paul is pointing out that his statement was in general about co-ops, and I agree, Paul. That is, it's a very common problem. And that's actually, I think that might be a topic for a future episode. I might just do a whole episode about whether co-ops are games, because I know that there are a number of people that believe that co-ops aren't technically games because there is no sense of competition. It's a whole different story. My point is that co-ops, definitely, there are certain people that are just problematic in co-op games. And it's very easy, it's easy to flippantly say something like, well, don't play games with those people, but you don't always have that choice. Maybe you're at a game night and there's only 4 of you or whatever, and this is the thing you're going to play. Or as I mentioned before with that, you sign up for an event at convention. They're all total strangers, and unfortunately, you just get a few bad apples in there, and it can't be.
I mean, this is the part where I feel like I should make a joke about carrying a taser at all times, so that way you don't have to deal with those guys. But that probably is a bad idea. So yeah. Don't do that thing I just said. But yeah, but in general, okay. So to address it to focus back on Good Dog Bad Zombie, I don't think this game has any particular mechanisms in it to prevent an alpha gamer. I don't think there's anything in this game that specifically will help ease the alpha gamer issue. Like, for instance, this War of Mine does, where only the person holding the book gets to make ultimate decisions no matter what's going on. Anybody else can sound off all they want, doesn't matter.
Right.
The person with the book gets to make the decision.
But then that switches off in that game.
Yeah, the book hands around.
Okay.
But I'm saying that is a mechanism that is specifically designed to address the issue that Paul and a lot of people have about co-op games.
Right.
This game does not have that, but it does have enough hideable information and randomosity, because you're still rolling a die. So no matter what happens, you can't control all the things that are going to happen anyway. There's enough randomness and enough hidden information in those energy cards that you could definitely avoid it fairly easily, but it is not specific to the game. So if that is an issue for your group, then yeah, that will be a weak spot for this game. But I would argue that in general, you probably, unless this is your first ever co-op game for your group, you're probably going to know if you have that kind of douche canoe in your group.
Right.
And if you do, you just know better. This is not a game. You don't pull out co-ops when you're playing with that person, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
That's overly flippant, and I don't mean that in any sort of a disrespectful way. It's just one of those things where it's like, it's so not an issue for me that I don't even think about it. But, all right, selling points. The arts, even this is, they said this is not final art.
Yeah, no, that, I think the art is fine as is.
Yeah, I would like this to be the final art. I really like it. I think it's cute. I like that there are fun things. Like, there's fun little things. Like the artwork that they have for the humans, they even look confused. Like the humans are already faceless kind of dummies who have to be led around by the nose. Whereas the zombies have more personality, right? Like every piece of zombie art, like here's the business nerd, and here is... Oh, and most of them are in suits. There's definitely sort of an anti-corporate slant here.
Yeah. Here's another. There's like a little office lady one.
Yep. Definitely, all the zombies definitely came from cubicles somewhere along the way. There's no doubt in my mind that was a conscious choice on the art.
Sounds like my workplace.
Yeah. There's a lot of good self-aware humor. Like this game knows that it's a little bit silly and leans into it, which I think is good. I think that...
Yeah, no, definitely. I like the fact that when, a company puts a product out like that and they know, there's going to be a little tongue-in-cheek humor in it, they just go with it. And it's just, they just roll with it.
But it's not so cheesy that it interferes with the game. Like at no point were we like, oh, for the love of God. Like, like I can't play Munchkin anymore, right? Because it's funny, but... the funny is the only thing, like everybody's just like, knee pads are charming, and that's the only thing that happens that's worth anything in the game. This doesn't have that. This doesn't lean so heavily on the humor that it lacks.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. The theme isn't distracting, which is a good thing.
No, as a matter of fact, the theme is pretty solid. I mean, you bark to scare things away from you. You herd to bring things with you. You can attack once in a while, but in general, the zombie should win most fights, right? So you don't fight very often. I think it does the theme right. I love the fun names that they give the places, like Squirrel Town, which is the forest, or the zombie house is the big corporate building. Oh, it is. It's literally okay. Nice. I didn't catch this until just now because apparently I'm not real smart. Zombie House, that location 14 there, is literally a gigantic corporate headquarters for something. So that absolutely was a choice. Dirtland is where the farms are. Salt Walk is the docks, and the bath right next to it is the ocean.
Nice.
They did a really good job. Yeah, the humor.
This is really solid. I like,
Yeah, the humor's fun. I like it. So, yeah. So I mean, I can't say this enough. I think that this is a solid choice. If you want a lighter co-op game in your collection with a fun sense of humor, something that is very accessible, but is also dialable. I was going to show this off before. I'm going to show this one more time. one of the things that I really liked about the game is that there is an entire chart here of, depending on how many players and how hard you want the game to be, how much you can stack the board up. So based on your player count and then how tough you want the game to be, you can dial the sucker up to 11. Now, I personally don't know if the game is beatable. They even call it potentially impossible level as the hardest difficulty level, where you start the game with somewhere between 6 and 8 zombies on the board. That feels like a lot. We played on normal difficulty, where we started with 3 or 4 based on the player count. And that felt the right, and we almost lost. I mean, we barely squeaked out a win. So
it was pretty neck and neck there for a little bit.
The dice were not kind to us in this.
No.
There you go. But anyway, I think it's solid. There's a link in the description for the YouTube video. Yeah, go check the link down there and click on that. The Kickstarter, like I said, it's already funded with 4 days to go. I know that part of the proceeds from the Kickstarter are going to a no-kill shelter. So I think you're doing a good deed by backing this one on Kickstarter as well. Your money is going to a good place, not just to the pockets of makebigthings.com. There we go. So you can visit makebigthings.com if you want to check out the company themselves and the work that Brian and Evan are doing over there. I think that this is a good entry, and I think that it's really great to see them doing so well on Kickstarter just a few days to go. So check them out. In the meanwhile, thanks for hanging with us on this. We're going to keep tweaking this live streaming service, but I think I'm going to do more of these as I get the rig figured out a little bit better and get the logistics of how to do this a little bit more in line. I think you're going to see more of these. So again, if you're watching this live or afterwards or whatever, hit the subscribe button down there and hit the bell next to it. The subscribe button will mean that you'll see everything in your YouTube feed, and the bell will mean you'll actually get a notification when something happens like this. My schedule is a little bit chaotic with my real job, so I can't always predict when I'm going to be able to do one of these, but I want to do more of them. I have more space now than I've ever had before. You can see a ladder in the back there. We're still sort of working on things here. So this is going to continue getting better and better as time goes on. So hang in there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell. You can visit thecubistpodcast.com for more stuff, and hit up our PodPledge if you want to financially support the show or just spread the word. So thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a fantastic day. We will see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow for the actual Cubist, where we have, hang on, cheek plug at the end. Cheek plug at the end. We have Kurt Covert from Smirk and Dagger Games. We're going to talk about Paramedics Clear, and we're going to talk with them about making rude games and games that are fun. And Paul, I absolutely will. I really like doing live stream stuff in general. I really love this interaction. And now that I've finally got some, like, a handle on the space, and I've got some, like, better ideas on how I'm going to do these things, I really think that this is a thing that I can make work better in the future. So we'll do more of these.
Thanks for watching, Paul.
Yeah, and I might even do one later this week. Stay tuned, subscribe, hit the bell. We'll do another one later this week. Maybe I'll do another one about Paramedics Clear, or I just got a couple other Kickstarters in. Maybe we'll talk about those. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, have a good one, folks. We'll talk to you all again tomorrow.
See ya.
Take care. Thanks, Paul. Bye.